All right. What's good, YouTube? So Tay Trades come back at y'all with a trade recap. Today is July the 28th, and unfortunate news. It's not a good trade session. I have to report. So I traded London session and I also traded New York session. London session was a hot mess. I broke some rules again and went on tilt, changed my loss limit. It was just a bad sight. And I understand. I'm not gonna elaborate. I know what influenced decisions. I'm not gonna say it wasn't me, of course, but I definitely exterior factors play a role in what's going on. But ultimately, I knew what I was doing. I had the the ability to know when to stop and whatnot, and I chose not to. So there's no avoiding that. So trading on London session, you can see a lot of executions. But I was looking for a short on the 15-minute gap. I want to say it was, what time is it? Traded like something. What time was it? We can do right. Yeah. Okay. So I was looking for a short right here, and the plan was to take this area down to the S1, and that was going to roughly bring me about 78 points, 4 contracts, I believe. Phenomenal trade. Then after that, my next plan was going to be take it to the S1 to take it on up back to pretty low, perhaps, right? And that would have been another 94 points. So it could have been a two and done trade session. Instead, I ended up crashing out, take a whole bunch of trades. In fact, I kind of don't really want to fully sit here on this session. I can't even elaborate. A lot of trades were just tilt trades. It's horrible trades, over leveraging trades that I can't even like break down for real, if I'm being honest with you. So I'm going to show some screenshots of some of the trades, what it looked like. This was one of the trades. This was actually the first trade after I missed the initial entry up here. The market teased my stop, so I took the short. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna stop down here, but I was gonna target the monthly low right here, right? Knowing that I'll probably have to close S1. So I had my ideas set. This was another trade. This is why I'm already with over leveraging. 12 contracts is insane. Especially for the fact that my account is still dealing with buffers. So there was another trade, 14 contract trade. That was horrible. 14. This I think was the last trade. This trade actually I closed out, and this actually brought me out the negative for the day, for the session, and brought me a little positive. So after the trade, I shut it all down. I stopped. I'm like, I can't keep doing this. I can't. So I was debating on trading New York session after this horrendous day. So when I did come, the market was in a range. This was the range we were dealing with. And in fact, I was looking for the market to manipulate up to come down rather than just go straight down like it did. And it kind of gave me hints of Friday. So because of that, I knew I was not going to really look at NASDAQ at all until it broke out the range. I didn't want to have a repeat of Friday. So I had to wait till it broke out the range to the downside, upside, or either manipulated and came up and came down, or broke out the range. Regardless, I was waiting. So the Dow ended up being the favorite asset for me. I ended up trading the Dow. So looking at the daily time frame, I was seeing where we're at, where we're going. We were trading above the open, and we were trading above the daily high. So pre-high, we took this daily high out. So we were taking highs out. So I'm okay, cool. Where could we probably try to get to? There's a 4-hour gap sitting above here. And I'm like, okay, cool. That makes sense. Market may want to go for that. You have all this liquidity sitting right here, that the market easily want to go for. So I'm like, there's a good amount of draws to the upside. But at the time where the market was at, I was like, it makes sense to take it short. So the first trade I took for New York session, proper risk, proper everything, right? Um, Only thing different is we went more than 5 contracts, which I'm completely fine with, because when I trade the Dow, you could fit in a lot more contracts. So the Dow was cheaper in terms of the money you'll make per contract compared to the Nasdaq. So I was able to get into this first trade. I think it was 6 contracts I took, and the market was giving me weird vibes. So I sold it right here, stopped sitting at the current high, and I was like, ooh, oh, why did it do that? Okay, let's try this again. So I have my stops right here. That's why I entered. And I was looking for the market to come on down, right? And I have my stops set at the PP color. It could come pretty good. I think there was an hourly gap that it had, but I thought it could probably push through. Well, actually, no. I knew this was the area, but I was looking at PP as like if it pushes that R1 50% area, it go down there. And then of course I boxed in my 15-minute gap, and I know it's 15-minute order block. So there's a few things. So the moment it steps this hourly gap here, I already knew, okay, there's reasons to be concerned, to watch carefully. So that was my bad. I'm kind of going a little too quick. So the first trade, the market started pulling back. I closed out that trade. I waited for the manipulation, which happened at the current high, and I hopped right back in for a short. After that short happened, I had my stops in place. Everything was dandy. In fact, I think I had my stops slightly above right here. I think because my entry was right here. Yeah, so I actually could have gotten this trade for like 8 contracts for real. But we chose 6 because, you know, I'm trying to just make sure this is a rule following day, more or less. So as soon as the market got down to here, I knew there was a 50% of the hourly gap. I knew that the extreme of the hourly gap would have been that 15-minute gap that I probably would tap into. So once the market tapped into that, it did this little okey doke, right? Well, once it came near, it did a little okey doke here, pulled back to pre-high. I'm like, okay. At this time, I'm watching the Nasdaq too. I'm like, are we breaking down? Because we start pushing down. I want to see us keep going lower and dump on the MNQ to influence the Dow to keep on going. So when it pulled back, I'm like, okay, it's just retracement. I actually considered adding contracts, but I'm like, I'm like, let me not do anything crazy or different. Right now, I'm just trying to get rule followings in the bucket. That's it. Just show yourself you follow rules. You had 2 sessions back to back of doing bad trading. So I didn't do that. In fact, I waited, got down here. The market started showing me signs of rejection here. I'm like, okay, it didn't close below here. I'm like, close out this trade. Happy exit. You know, didn't run the distance I want to run, but I managed it well. Closed out. That was my second trade on the day. We moved over to the Nasdaq because we saw some opportunities here. And the first trade for New York session was here. So I can show you everything from a 1 minute actually. So it was down here. I actually went ahead and I sold. Did I sell? No, I bought. I bought the market in anticipation that this was a rejection and we are gonna go higher. If you see the rejection, we didn't close below the 50% on the hourly and the 4-hour. I wait for that 10 a.m. candle to help me get direction clarity of where I want to take my trades. So I took this buy in anticipation that we're gonna continue on up. So it buys here, stops here, and I was able to get in for 1 contract. Yeah, I see 1 contract. So the market started pulling back. I hit the close button, so I pretty much break even on this trade. Only about like what 5-point stop. So I'm not tripping off of that. Eventually the market started giving me signs that, oh, we might continue down lower. So I'm like, okay, cool. We got the little closure on the 1 minute. This is where I kind of slipped up. I don't know if the 5-minute made the closure. The 5-minute did, but the 15-minute, it did actually too. But overall, that rejection form still held up. So that's something I still have to study more. If I had more confidence and I knew to stick to the higher time frame, I would have probably got back in for a buy to the upside and target that pre-low or the S1. But that did not happen. The market ended up pulling back, and I thought, okay, maybe we're gonna push on down lower. So my idea was to get in here and just target the S2. So we got in right here. I was able to get in for 2 contracts after bring my stops there. And the market saw a range. I didn't like this range. Not a fan. So we saw probably 34 points we left on the table, which is fine. So I closed out that trade because the longer we ranged, the less inclined I was to believe in this gap right here on the 1 minute. And I'm like, we're probably gonna come back up higher because one, we're still rejecting. We didn't close below here on the 4-hour or the hourly. We dumped off crazy. We took out daily gaps, weekly gaps. It's like, you know, we took out a whole monthly level. It hit a lot of objectives that it could be pulling back. Not say it can't come down further, but it definitely probably will want to pull back deeper. So that was my 4th and final trade. And to show, this was trade number 1 for New York session, which was a loser. This was trade number 2 for New York session, which was the winner. And then this is trade number 3, which is break even. Trade number 4. And yeah, we pretty much ended the day up pretty decently. And because of everything that happened, we're gonna take tomorrow off and not trade altogether. But for now, that's been your boy, Tay Trades. I'm out.